Yes, you are now listening to the sounds of Sports Reports Disordered. To my left, the one and only Mr. Logical. Jerseys in the house.
Wild thing.
And right here up in your face, it's 2-5. We back. So tonight, we're going to give you a recap of where we are in the NBA playoffs as of this moment. I got Miami 91, New York 84, 9:50 left. They told me the Knicks being in the playoffs was going to be better, and it's not. And then we're going to get into Dillon Brooks. He's on the move because Memphis said you ain't welcome here no more. Where he going to end up? Is he worth any damn thing?
Beach. Go to somewhere with a beach, Dillon.
All right. And then we're going to do something that I hate doing, but we're going to do it because we're a part of the sports media now.
We're going to be very serious about it.
Too early Super Bowl predictions, but we're going to do it anyway because I know y'all want it. And then lastly, before I get it off my chest, we're going to get into the Philadelphia 76ers. Did the process work? Was it worth it? So, Mr. Logical, what's happening on this Monday night?
Listen, man, I want to shout out to Major League, Wild Thing, Rick Vaughn. You know, like I keep the jerseys on deck. Yes. Like we would have give you 2 episodes last week, but I was like literally neck deep in finals for my master's degree program. I had to write like a 15-page paper and do a PowerPoint. Then I had to write another 5 to 10-page paper for another class, and I was like,
the PowerPoint.
Sorry, it was crazy. I had to use this whole setup. I had to record my intro, and I had to record for each slide. It was something like 12 to 17 minutes with the recordings and the slide. I was like, I locked in. I didn't do anything social last week. I just was like locked in probably from Monday after we recorded last week until Thursday midnight. I was just literally doing homework, so I couldn't get into another one.
You know, and I just want people to know because I've been seeing all these lists and everybody every single year keep overranking Neyland Stadium, talking about how tough it is to win against the Vols in that stadium when Tennessee just got good this year. I just want you to know there's no place like Doak. You know what I'm saying? No place like Doak. Anyway.
Rice Eccles Stadium's pretty tough too. Shout out to 801.
So, what's going on in the NBA playoffs, man?
The NBA playoffs, I mean, the script writers, I know they about to go on strike. The Screen Actors Guild writers are about to go on strike. Whoever wrote the NBA playoffs, somebody should get them an Emmy or like an Oscar for the drama. We got people getting their head stepped on. We got chest getting stepped on. We got Serbians elbowing owners. I mean, we got the whole shebang. We got LeBron taking the greatest Instagram picture ever. I don't even know when that happened, but it just looked marvelous. Like it had mad filters in it.
We got Steph following Steph to the sideline talking about, I'm just trying to make sure you ain't going to shoot from here.
I got to go you to the bench. Like, I think we have it all, man. Like I said, you and I had the conversation earlier about Devin Booker right here trying to win the Bill Russell trophy.
Hey, that man trying to win Finals MVP. That's what he's trying to win. But you know what's interesting though? And we're going to get back on topic, y'all. I promise. You know what would be hilarious though? I can't wait to see the reaction if the Suns were to somehow win the title and Devin Booker got Finals MVP. I can't wait to hear the KD legacy talk after that.
Oh, I'm so sick of that word. Legacy.
It started with your boy.
Legacy and narrative.
Nobody talked about legacy until LeBron came around.
Man, Cap.
Man. Anyway.
Cap. That's Cap.
Anyway, since we're talking about LeBron, we might as well start with the Lakers and the Warriors. So what's your takeaways from that series?
It just seems, like I said, I picked the Lakers, I won't say reluctantly because it's like, I think it's a toss-up. I think it's 50-50. But the blowouts, the physicality, the Anthony Davis in odd numbered games this playoff series is alarming. I think it's like an 18-point swing. Like he's averaging like 30 points in odd number games and 13 in even number games. It's not about wins or losses for some reason. Like he doesn't put them back to back.
I know it's like he's the
LeBron
giant
playing
James Harden
off
or
the
something.
ball. I think there was one play when Austin Reeves had the ball at the top of the key. I think it was a missed shot on the Golden State end. They brought the ball up and LeBron off the ball. And it looked like Austin Reeves just had it. He was like, I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. And he just floated up. And LeBron caught it two-handed, dunked it, going from left to right. I think it's a great series. I think it's kind of bittersweet because we all know that in the event that whatever player makes it to the Western Conference Finals, KD, Steph, or LeBron, the conversation is going to be: do you move Steph up above Magic?
Oh, they already having that.
Do you move Steph above LeBron because he's gotten so many? He was so successful in LeBron's era. He ate on LeBron's watch. That phrase. Or if LeBron gets this Lakers team, which is essentially the 2018 team where in Cleveland, where they made all the trades at the trade deadline, and then they go on to the finals, win or loss, win or lose, excuse me. So I think it's just so many. There's so many layers to what's going on, but ultimately, it's like who who's ready to play. The Golden State Sacramento series was they're very competitive. 6 of the 7 games, one blowout, a play here, a play there, a foul here, an ejection there, changed the whole series. Sacramento up 2-0, come back. And like I said, we talk about all the time. Yo, give me 9 games of Golden State versus Sacramento. The Lakers Golden State series seems a little weird because it's been a couple of blowouts.
It's Lakers Cavs all over again.
And now you have this pivotal game 4 now. How does LeBron come out in game 4? Does he try to get 12 in the first quarter? Mm-hmm. Does he try to get do the Lakers try to get 30 points in the first quarter in a sprint?
Hey, is this going to be game 6? Is this going to be game 6 in Cleveland? where they get like 20 free throws in the first quarter?
That depends on what you think that the narrative that the NBA wants something. I think because we were just talking about this offline before we started recording, the disparity between the free throws, and it's simply this. I think the Lakers go to the rim more. I think they go to the rim. I think they create easier shots for themselves at the rim, which creates a little bit of angst defensively because Golden State has 2.5 players that play defense. Draymond, Looney, and Gary Payton Jr. or the second, whatever it goes by.
Yeah, he's starting tonight.
He's starting tonight because they know they don't play any other defense. But if we all seen guys, I saw it the other day or yesterday with the Philadelphia Boston series. Niang had 5 fouls early in the fourth, like maybe mid early to the fourth. And as soon as he got his 5th foul, I thought to myself, how often does Steph Curry have 5 fouls in a game? How often does LeBron have 5 fouls in a game? How often does Jimmy Butler have 5 fouls in a game? How often does, some of these stars, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, how often are they?
Oh, Karl Anthony Towns gets him a lot.
How often are they at 5 fouls? You know what I mean?
I don't know about 5, but he's definitely at 4 a lot.
Bam Adebayo. So I just feel like some of these guys are just in a position of where just being role players, they might get more foul calls. So does Gary Payton starting, and then you get Austin Reeves, get him in the paint with an up another pump fake,
or he do that little head thing that the refs call every time.
This
that
thing
I see as a flop.
I've never
Everybody
done.
else sees that
I've
as
never
a flop.
done that. I played basketball for fun like my whole life. I've never done this.
I've never seen anybody do it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I'm sure it happened, but you know, it doesn't happen very often.
If we were playing a basketball game at Hill at the gym, and someone threw both hands in the air, let the ball go out of bounds, you're like, that's out on you.
I'd be like, that was dumb. Why'd he do that?
That was dumb. Like, just take the contact and shoot the layup.
Hey, but you know what my question is. This is my question ever since the series against Sacramento. Where is Jonathan Kuminga?
He ain't playing.
I know. Why?
The role players have this. The role players have a leash that's 6 inches. The stars got 18. If you are doing nut stuff in that 6-inch leash that I give you, I gotta pull you out.
Except for if you're Jordan Poole.
But they paid him $100 million.
That was dumb.
That's the difference. They paid him too much money to not sit him, and he spent $500,000 on a date when he could have just bought her a pizza. But
if Julius Randle don't get his Mr. Cheeks looking ass out of the ref's face. But anyway, so you know, we talk about narrative, and you remember the old narrative about how Steph chokes in the big moments, Dellavedova shut him down, all this kind of stuff. You know what's funny about that is that Steph's only averaging 23 in this series, so we might start to hear a little bit of that talk again. So as people are putting him in their top 10s and he's better than Magic Johnson, this is going to be the pushback on the other side. What's funny about that is that, you know, him and Klay are averaging the same exact points for the series. You know, so Klay has shown up, but Steph has taken a step back, if you will. You know, Looney is leading the playoffs in rebounds, but it don't mean anything if you got 2 front court starters against the Lakers that can't score. You know, so Draymond.
Yeah, but Looney isn't leading the playoffs in block shots.
No, he's not. That would be AD.
That's the problem.
You know, and that's the other problem is that the Warriors. The wrong people are challenging AD. You know what I mean? Like Looney or Draymond need to challenge AD at the basket and potentially get a foul. If Steph's little ass coming through there, Anthony's just going to put that in, you know, row 3C or whatever. You know,
do they have a 6'9" or 6'10" guy that can put out there on the floor and give valuable minutes to? Probably
not. But that's where
9 deep. Do they have a 6'9" guy that can put out there?
Probably not. How tall is Wiggins?
6'7",
6'7"-ish.
Yeah. He's a wing defender.
Yeah. You know, but I mean, there's nobody that there's nobody
no
on
Jeff
the team.
Green or anybody in their team. There's no Aaron Gordon.
There's nobody that can guard
AD.
There's nobody that can guard AD. But I'm talking about people challenging him at the basket, put on the defensive end to potentially try to get some fouls on him.
Fouls on him?
Yeah.
I mean, I saw some Kevon Looney highlights from UCLA. He looked litty. Just let him.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
I mean, a jump shot from 15 feet is a jump shot from 15 feet, no matter if you played in 1988.
But that's what I'm saying. When's the last time you saw Looney shoot that? When's the last time you saw Looney shoot that?
Like, remember you were having a conversation with Sabonis. Sabonis trying to set a screen at the free throw line. I'm like, Draymond is 6 feet from you. Turn and let it fly.
Get it over him. Yeah, get it over him.
Because Steph and Klay and Jordan Poole are going to get there. We'll go 14 to 18 shots each minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So if Kevon Looney's down there, instead of getting a turnover, like, yo, dog, just pull up from 15.
Right.
Knock it down. Like, get us 8 cheap points.
When we gonna get the Draymond game? You know, say I remember the 32-15 and
we haven't gotten that since then. There was 2 presidents ago.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. But that, you know, D'Angelo Russell
32-15 and 7, right?
Yep. But D'Angelo Russell has been the surprise of this series. You know, like he's doing the things that people thought that he could do, but he just wasn't doing it. and I think that he has that edge. We talked about this. He used to play for Golden State. They got rid of him on some, like, we don't think that you're going to help us get to that next point. So I think he has a little chip on his shoulder that he's using to go against them as well, but what it's basically coming down to, which we knew coming into the series, is that Golden State just doesn't have enough points coming from the front court to not have to shoot 53s a game or, shoot 63s a game.
52 threes in game one?
I think it was 56 actually. But
it was 6 for 56 or something like that.
It was something crazy like that. But they had to do that because they're not getting points in the paint, So Wiggins,
you got to go there.
I know. Shout out
to
Wiggins for the poster.
Points in the paint, because let's not front. AD is the offensive catalyst for the Lakers right now in the playoffs.
Right.
Granted, LeBron is there, and Austin Reeves can do that, and D'Angelo Russell, whatever. Mm-hmm. AD is the guy that's driving the force offensively inside of the painted area.
Right.
But Golden State doesn't challenge him because I think they're operating this philosophy that the 3-point shot is going to be the thing.
3 is more than 2.
If the Lakers come down 10 possessions and they get 8 shots at the rim,
mm-hmm.
that could be potentially about 10 to 12 points with free throws because they're getting fouled because you have no defenders down there. So Jordan Poole shooting that 28-footer in game one.
Shooting 26% from 3, by the way.
It's like, dog. And I watched the pundits talk about, somebody came to close out on him. I'm like, yeah, that's after he let the ball go. But if he takes a dribble.
He had 2 dribbles.
If he pump fakes off the catch, he still had 10 seconds when he caught the ball. He pump fakes off the catch and takes 2 dribbles. The dude guarding Steph, right when Steph bent over, in the middle of the court, like, oh my God, I can't believe you shot that. That dude has to rotate over. And now you slip it to Steph, and Steph is essentially by himself.
But what I didn't like about the play, because everybody got on Jordan Poole because he's Jordan Poole for taking that shot.
No, I got him because he shot it from 28 feet.
No, I know, but I mean, anyway, point being, but this is the Warriors. You can't tell the Warriors to not do what the Warriors do. Remember the whole Steph thing in 2016 behind it? That's what the Warriors do. It bites them in the ass sometimes. That's what they do. But the point being is that when you look at the rest of that play, everybody else was in the corner. Like, there was nobody coming for the ball. Steph was, he was tangled up. But nobody else was coming to the ball. Nobody else was coming to the ball.
Got it to Jordan Poole because I think Draymond got somebody came out and challenged him defensively. He got to Jordan Poole. It's 10.7 seconds when he catches the ball.
Right.
Maybe Golden State has a timeout. Maybe they call one. I'm not sure what their timeout situation was. But the help came from the guy that was coming out to challenge Steph. He jumped to his right to challenge the shot of Jordan Poole when he would have done the same challenge off the pump fake. A pump fake would have created, I don't know if it was Lonnie Walker or Vanderbilt, but whoever challenged Jordan Poole on that left wing would have done the exact same thing from a pump fake or a shot.
Right.
And now, if he still has the ball and you're only down 3, 10 seconds left, maybe you take the layup, or maybe you dribble drive into the paint and someone has to challenge you and you kick it out to Clay in the corner. I mean, there's nothing more deadly than Clay in the corner than Jason Bourne with an ink pen. I mean, that's it. I mean, so I just feel like sometimes they play. I think they play so. I want to say passive. I'm trying to get the right word. I think they play with so much confidence that
they play so loose
and confident, and no one is blamed for whatever goes wrong.
Right. Except for
Jordan was like, if I make this, I'm the hero.
Except for the Lakers still have nine seconds or so to get back down.
At a minimum, they still got 9 seconds. Yeah. You can't control them inside the paint. And this is when LeBron would have used his bursts, the same thing he did against Memphis and a guy we're going to talk about later when he went
can't
left.
Go left, right?
Yeah, and he went left. He's left-handed. He signs his autographs left-handed. Like LeBron signs his autographs left-handed. So
Mm-hmm.
every player knows that about him. Yo, Miami is different, man.
No. See, I was going to transition to that. I thought the playoffs was going to be better. Everybody told me when the Knicks make the playoffs, well, I guess they were talking about for the league business-wise. They weren't talking about for me.
Yeah.
So like the Knicks are who I thought they were.
It was
Like they are
$1,200 for 2 tickets.
they're a bunch of undisciplined, dudes who thrive on chaos, so like RJ Barrett, isn't gonna be a great half court player. He's his best when he could get in transition or he could get a little floater in the lane. But your success is not trying to set up plays while RJ Barrett is on the floor, because it doesn't work. Julius Randle, I ain't gonna get on him because I know you like to think that I get on Julius Randle. He is averaging
get on him excessively.
Hey, he is averaging 18 and 13 in this series. You know what I'm saying? Shooting 36% from the floor to do it. 21 from three.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Because
you're 6'10" and the hoop is 10 feet tall.
Because he plays just like RJ Barrett. He plays just like RJ Barrett.
Just get down the block. Give me 14 shots from 6 feet and in.
So I was reading a thing where they were talking about how everybody criticizes Julius Randle for shooting all these threes, but then his coaches are telling him, like, let him fly. Like, you know what I mean? And that's cool if you're going 4 for 10. You know what I mean? But if you're going 2 for 11, you should probably not be shooting 11 of them.
That's cool.
Dillon Brooks.
Dillon Brooks. In February.
Right.
That's cool if you're playing, if you're playing against Chicago and it's a January game on a Tuesday. But in the playoffs, like, dog, just get me 20 shots. If you're my guy and you normally shoot 20 jump shots, give me them jump shots from around the hoop. Like, I told my son and his friends, like, I took them to the gym and they were trying to shoot threes. I'm like, yo, if I close out on you from the free throw line, I close out. You pump fake and give me 2 dribbles, 2 steps. Now you're shooting a 2-point shot from 15 feet. The other defenders either have to close out on you, and if they do that, then you can get an easy pass off to a guy who normally doesn't get shots because he's down low. So now the big man gets easy layup. You look like a good teammate. And now the next time that guy wants to close out on you from 3, he'll second guess. Now you get a cleaner look at 3. But if you just take the 3 and then you miss it, everybody knows that goes into your head. Steph Curry dropped 50 points. His talent says you should drop 50 points all the time. What stops him from dropping 50 points every game is when those early 4 or 5 threes don't go in. And he doesn't.
I was telling my son. Plan. I was telling my son when he was playing AAU, 3 is more than 2, but 2 is more accurate than 3. And, and these dudes aren't in the NBA. So y'all ain't even shooting 35% from 3 as it is, but all these teams are playing like that. They play like, so with Miami, they shot 50% from 3 against Milwaukee. And we both, one of my favorite, phrases or whatever is it has to come back to average. So Miami coming in tonight was only shooting 31% in this series from 3. The problem is the Knicks are only shooting 27% for 3. And
they went like 9 for 40 in game 3.
It's just like the James Harden thing, the Houston thing. How did y'all miss 27 straight threes? Why did one person not say, go draw a foul?
Cold. I am Antarctica cold from 23 feet, but I can be on fire from 7.
But that's what's so crazy about this, because Jimmy Butler plays like he still plays for Thibodeau. These Knicks don't play like they play for Thibodeau. They don't play like they're a Tom Thibodeau team. And so I'm watching this game right now, just game 4, 106-99 with about a minute left now. So Miami's probably about to go up 3-1 here. The difference is that Miami, I saw Bam Adebayo doing pump fakes, at the free throw line, dribble, take 2 steps and get a dunk. Julius Randle can't do that.
Yo, people fall in love with the 3 and it's ridiculous.
So is Joe Mazzulla going to lose this series for the Celtics?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so like Missoula, like I just don't know why this dude wants to hold on to the timeouts. Like both games that Boston lost in this series was because of him either not trapping James Harden or because of him not calling timeouts when he has one, or yesterday he had two. But my takeaway is like Boston is still the better team in this series. Like, and they're shooting 48% as a team for the series. That's unheard of, for this late in the playoffs against. You would think Philly's having an Embiid is going to alter some shots. They got PJ Tucker out there playing defense from time to time. So, I'm just shocked that Boston's shooting so well.
I think Boston has two players. They're two front court players, and Tatum and Brown, that are, if you had to draw up a player, they're basically both Scottie Pippen with scoring ability.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I think of them as like they are what Kawhi and Paul George, what people thought they were when they got together.
They're the young version of the team that got created that they were already. Yeah. So that's the thing. I think Tatum, they say they have 6'8", maybe 6'9".
Mm-hmm. And but the thing is that what's crazy for me is that it's hard to have it. It seems like they just never have that game at the same time, though.
I think with Boston, I think the way their team's constructed, it might be one of the best constructed teams in the NBA. You run 4 point guards out there between Smart, Williams, Brogdon, even old boy Peyton, Pritchard.
Peyton Pritchard, yeah.
Peyton Pritchard. You run Brown and Tatum out there, and they can switch off being your shooting guard, your 2 or your 3. Al Horford at the 4, Robert Williams at the 5, or Horford at the 5, Grant Williams at the 4, Derek Williams at the, so it's like an embarrassment of riches. So when you have a guy like Missoula who has 2 timeouts, and like I said, the game, I think it was like 18.8 seconds when the Harden 3 went through. He had 2 timeouts, and in the possession before Philly got their 3 off, Doris Burke, the announcer for ABC, she said, Joe Missoula says he likes to have 2 timeouts for end-of-game situations. Constructively, that seems to make a lot of sense. It does.
We don't use them.
We don't use them when you're down 1, or it doesn't make sense wherever Embiid got the ball for the last 2 rounds, even before Boston, their first round matchup with Brooklyn, guys were double teaming off of a guy, and it just felt like the double team was passive. Like it's coming, so just show hard. He doesn't pass. I haven't seen him really pass deliberately to a playmaker out of the double team. It's not like Doc calls a play to where James gonna get the ball in the right wing, get it to Embiid, the double's gonna come off Jaylen Brown, and Maxey, you're gonna cut off of that, and then Embiid's gonna hit you for a layup. It just seemed like the play was, all right, Embiid, the double's coming from somewhere. We want you to turn and face the hoop and either shoot it or make a play you feel that works. And that's what I was getting. But when James Harden got the ball, there's no double playing. A couple times in fourth quarter and overtime, he's left-handed. They were playing him to go left. And he got all the way to the hoop. One time he kicked it out and it kind of bailed out Boston. But
I'm just trying to figure out
the way they work. It just seems like there's areas for improvement, just from a fan perspective.
I'm just trying to figure out why the MVP is 9 foot tall and 320 pounds, and he going 11 for 26. And it took PJ Tucker to cuss him out in the fourth quarter. Yeah, just to make him seem like he wanted to wake up. But here's a stat. Here's a stat that I thought was interesting. So this is just for yesterday. This is not for the series, just for yesterday. When guarded by Al Horford, Embiid got held to 31% shooting for the game. And then it drops to 14% when just looking at the fourth quarter and overtime. That don't make sense to me. Not because Embiid's the MVP, not because he's 9 feet tall and all that stuff, but Al Horford old too.
Yeah, but so is Draymond.
But Draymond gets away with beating you up most of the time, though. Horford ain't beating him up.
Al Horford's a nice guy, and he doesn't argue much, but he gets some fouls in there too. He'll poke you in your hip on his way.
Yeah, I remember he dunked on Giannis and last year.
So Al Horford, he's what we like to call a crafty veteran.
Yeah.
But what he does is basically, if he knows, all right, Joel Embiid faces me up, my help is coming from his left side, so he's got to go right. If the plays are kind of designed to where Embiid gets the ball at 11 seconds in the shot clock, I think all that information is kind of processed, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna wait it out for the shoulder shimmy or the Kobe move." Remember, I did the superimposed Kobe Jordan and Embiid videos. I think he's just waiting on that, and he's like, "If I can get my hand here in his face or at the ball for a contest, then I put my team in a good position." That's why he goes 11 for 26. I know Charles Barkley talked about the whole relationship and the chemistry between James Harden and Joel Embiid in the playoffs. I think it'll come back and bite him, because I think James plays a certain way, and I'm not sure it's the same concept of Anthony Davis playing great on the odd number games and even number games. I just don't know if James can give it to you every single night, because you expect James Harden to be able to give you 29, 10, and 8 because he's James Harden. So when he gives you 13, it's like, can he go in the locker room and then galvanize people and say, "Yo, we got to do better"? When those guys seeing you play as a 29 or 30 plus point, 10 plus point, 8 rebound guy, yeah, people talk about his defense, but like that's why you have other guys who don't shoot the ball play defense on the back end. Just put in Reed and then and Tobias Harris, and like, yo, be big bodies on here. 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", 7 feet tall. I mean, I like what Philly has going on, because I think they believe in what they have going on. I just think that Boston just kind of built better, and Boston they gave a game away yesterday.
Yeah, like I said, in my mind, Boston's the better team, and I don't think, people will argue, but I don't think that's really up for much debate. Then you got the Nuggets and the Suns out west. Does the sun rise in the west? 2-2 now.
I want to say this all day, ladies and gentlemen.
I know.
I've been so big.
I've been wanting to say it like probably for about 18 to 19 episodes now. But anyway, and hey, like, where are we at? Like, is Denver? Because I think
this might be the best. This is depends on what happens tonight with the Lakers Golden State. I think the Suns Nuggets series might be the best, because what you have Denver has an MVP in the middle in Jokic, even though he didn't win it this year. He's an MVP. He has the catalyst.
He could have.
He could have won it. He could have won it if people weren't concerned with the legacy narrative of the fact that they voted for Jokic and he won it 3 years in a row, and only Bird and Jordan never done it and Kobe never did it. I think that was more. I'm not taking away from Embiid's accomplishment, but the whole year, all the straw polls and everything else had people voting for Jokic, and then all of a sudden he just does exactly what he did every single year. From the time that straw poll came out to the vote, and it's like all of a sudden that's not good enough. But that's the
and for those of you that thought he couldn't do it, he put up 53 last night.
Yeah. So what will happen with the Phoenix Denver series is that you got the stars. You have so much star power. Chris Paul being hurt, other guys got to step up. Devin Booker right here playing like he's trying to win the Bill Russell Trophy. I just think when it comes down to it, the basic expectation of a basketball game where your other team's best player gets everybody involved, I think Denver still has that edge. So we're at 0-0, and I'm still picking the Denver. But right now, 0-0, I'm picking the Denver to win. Best 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I'm picking Denver. And of course for my stat of the day, actually, this is the stat of the day. So not only does Devin Booker lead the playoffs in total points, he's the first person since Michael Jordan in 1992 to average 35 in a playoff run for the first 8 games. But on that list, so everybody already knew that stat. I saw that floating all over social media.
Yeah.
But the other part of that stat is the other names that have done this are Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the captain himself, Mr. Clutch, even though he went 1-9 in the finals, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, and Elgin Baylor, so that's some elite company right there, so maybe Devin Booker's a little better than I thought he was, but right now him and Durant are averaging 66.3 points in this series of Phoenix's 111 points. So you want to know something funny? We were talking about this, about how having Joel Embiid might hurt Philly against Boston. Like maybe Philly plays better against Boston if Embiid isn't there to slow it down, clog things up. That's how I feel about Chris Paul in this series. Is that the reason that I think Denver's going to probably win this series is because when Chris Paul is healthy, they're going to trot him back out there, and Phoenix is going to slow down, and they're going to try. Yep. They're going to plot down the court, and Denver's going to run them up and down the court as they were in games 1 and 2. So I don't know if it's as simple as they went to Phoenix and Phoenix held home court versus Phoenix was able to play faster without Chris Paul clogging it up and holding the ball. So, from that standpoint, I think that's where Phoenix has an advantage. Joker with 53 last night. I got to ask you, should he have been suspended?
No, not at all. Because first of all, I've never really elbowed a person in the face. But if I would have deliberately elbowed someone in the face to where my intent was to, cause some kind of physical damage or at least get some separation, I will look over there. I think the Suns owner was just geeking up the crowd. And Jokic put his arms up. He flopped Draymond style. And it shouldn't have been worth the suspension. On top of that, the NBA is a business, and they like to market. Yeah, I saw that's why you smirked. They like to market their matchups. That's why the Christmas Day lineup is deliberate. That's why the Christmas Day lineup runs concurrently with shoe releases. They are the All-Star game. They are a marketing firm that happens.
They're a business. They're a business.
Not even a business. So a marketing aspect of it.
Well, when people say
suspending your top players, and figure it's going to be justified.
Well, when people get into that argument, because you brought it up earlier, like does the NBA want certain things? I can tell you right now, the NBA don't want Miami up 3-1 on New York. I can tell you that right now.
I don't think they're as bothered by that because I think D Wade winning chip in Miami. 2006, the Miami Heatles, and then the fact that Spoelstra has been highly regarded as one of the best coaches, and then Miami making it to the finals in that bubble year. I don't think the NBA minds if it was like
Milwaukee.
Charlotte.
Well, not Milwaukee because they got Giannis.
If it was Charlotte versus Detroit
Sacramento
in the Eastern Conference Final.
The Eastern Conference.
Like if Detroit had a good year, even with Detroit on a good year, it would have been like the Hawks 60-win season where it's good, but it's not good for the fan. Like it's not good for the casual fan to be like, yo, Cal Korver's out there lighting it up. Like no, like.
Oh yeah, and just to answer your question, Golden State is averaging 46 3 attempts per game in the series. But anyway,
Really?
yes, yeah, 46. The Lakers are averaging 30. Golden State's averaging 46. But so Memphis got eliminated in the first round by the Lakers. We saw that. We saw Dillon Brooks and Ja Morant go from a whole lot of talking to a whole lot of shutting up. Even though Ja did come back and say that he was going to eat he was good in the West thing. Dillon Brooks just stopped showing up to press conferences. So then we went into Memphis got eliminated. Me and Raph were sitting around like, yo, Memphis ain't that far away. Like, they're right there. If Clark and Adams were in this series, maybe it's a different outcome. But then we got the news saying that Dillon Brooks is not only not coming back to Memphis, he's not coming back under any circumstances. So what's next, Raph?
What's next? I personally I felt like Memphis probably was the best spot for him because I think, like I said, I think a whole Memphis is a viable candidate because if you look at the West, you got Jokic, Golden State's old, the Lakers are old, and the Lakers are gonna make moves to appease LeBron. It's not a bad thing. It's just that I don't know if it's all gonna lead to winning. Phoenix is probably gonna maybe hold on to Chris Paul because of the legacy aspect of his contributions. So I think Memphis would have been in the top 2 or 3 next year. Maybe Sacramento takes another step. If they start playing a little defense, maybe they get a defender. But I think Memphis would have still been in that 51 to 55 win range. 50 to 55 minimum. So I think that would still had him in the top 3. Them not bringing Dillon Brooks back, I think it's kind of lame how they put the message out there that they're under no circumstances. I think that hurts his value. I think that might put him in a position of where he might negotiate a little bit more, with a little bit more animosity. But I think there's plenty of teams that could definitely use him. First of all, Charles Barkley said this, and I don't want to take credit for it, and I'm going to paraphrase it, but the main thing he said was that to win a championship, you need 3 types of players. One of those players that he mentioned was a crazy guy. He was like, every team needs a crazy guy that just does the crazy guy shit. Either pick the fights, the rebounds, gets the technicals every once in a while, just takes on the best player, pokes the bear, proverbially. Every team needs that guy. Think about it. Who's that guy on the Knicks?
Nobody.
They're down 3-1. Who's that guy on Miami?
I mean, it's crazy because Jimmy might be that guy, even though
Jimmy's that guy.
He's the best player.
He's their best player, but he's also the guy that does that part. So he takes
maybe that's why they can't get the title. Yeah.
And maybe it's like a little overwhelming because he has to carry, a couple different pails of water. But he is that guy that gets him to the next level. Same thing with Miami. You could try to use Grayson Allen, but he's kind of small. He does like little dirty things with Milwaukee. So if you look at the Lakers don't really have that kind of guy either. But Golden State has Draymond. Golden State had no business winning.
Schroeder kind of becomes that guy. He does some dirty things from time to time.
But he's just kind of small. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Dillon Brooks is the guy that gives you. Dillon Brooks is a guy that gets under your skin. He's the thorn in your side, the rock in your shoe. And I think they did a disservice to themselves as a team and to him by putting out under no circumstances. Whatever the correspondence and the conversations were internally, you've inhibited yourself from a sign and trade. Because people know you don't really want to keep them. That's the same thing Phoenix is in. Phoenix situation is we all saw on live TV Ayton and Monty Williams having their beef. He was a free agent. I don't know if unrestricted, restricted, but we all saw that that's not working. I think Memphis had an opportunity to put a sign and trade, and we could talk about places. I think he fit well in Miami. Keep it 100. I think he fit well in the Lakers. I think he would work well with the Lakers. And if it was a situation where I take Kyrie or Dillon Brooks, I would take Dillon Brooks.
So my first note here says maybe he can be the Matt Barnes to LeBron's Kobe,
King of the light skins.
because that was the whole, Matt Barnes, the iconic video of him waving trying to, joke Kobe, and Kobe just, then Kobe was like, yo, I want a guy like that. But Kobe was like, I want a guy like that on my team. So maybe that could be that thing. But I'm going to tell you.
Run a test and Kobe almost fought before he signed with them and they beat Boston.
I'm going to tell you what did a disservice to Dillon Brooks' value. So I agree with you that Memphis went about this the wrong way and they shouldn't have done it how they did it. But I'm going to tell you, Dillon Brooks shot Dillon Brooks' value by being 6'7" and shooting 36% from the floor for a whole season. That's what did his value in. Because at the trade deadline, they tried to get Mikal Bridges, and there were rumors that they might have been interested in OG Anunoby as well. If they would have got either one of them, they would have beat the Lakers. Now, what I don't like is I do like Dillon Brooks with them because I like cores. You know what I mean? These are the guys that you started at the bottom with. These are the guys that you made it out with. So I like that part of it. But I just don't think Dillon Brooks is that guy. 31% from the floor in the playoffs, 24 from three. But he won't stop shooting the threes. He's that New York Knicks guy we were just talking about. So I think Philly would be a good fit because PJ Tucker getting old and got to be getting out of there at some point. So I think he could be a good replacement for PJ Tucker. The problem is Memphis, as of right now, doesn't have anybody on their roster to step into that spot and play defense the way that he was playing defense.
But they've already said they're not bringing him back. Like
no, I know. But I'm saying that's the negative out of it. But I don't think that losing Dillon Brooks means that Memphis still can't be what you think of Memphis as. Because like I said, Mikal Bridges or OG would have been an obvious upgrade over him. OG's way better offensively and plays defense better or just as well, whereas Mikal Bridges, same thing. So I think that where Memphis needs to make the change is probably Steven Adams from the standpoint of he brings a leadership aspect, but I don't think he fits the dynamic of their team, as far as the running up and down and all that kind of stuff. But Dillon Brooks,
I just need him to run to the block.
I don't think that either losing Dillon Brooks or gaining Dillon Brooks on your team makes that much of a difference.
I'm listening. I just watched LeBron hit the sky hook.
Oh yeah, by the way, Miami's up 3-1 if you didn't catch that, y'all. But I don't think that having Dillon Brooks on your team or not having Dillon Brooks on your team makes that big of a difference in your season. If you were a 52 win game team with Dillon Brooks, I think you could win 52 without him. If you were a 36 win team without Dillon Brooks, I think you could win 36 games with him. I don't think he moves the needle.
I don't. Memphis went over 50 wins last season and this season. And I don't think they had the injuries with their big men. I think Dillon Brooks.
Well, last year, Ja got hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like you got to have this basketball game started.
Yeah, and that's why I like the core aspect of it is that y'all been building with him, see it through. Wherever that's going to take you, whether you win a title, whether you make it to the Western Conference Finals, whether you lose in the second round, see it through because he was there at the beginning of this build, the process. He was at the beginning of the process.
Which we'll get into later. I don't know what else do you need from
if you're Memphis.
So you have Ja and Bane, Adams, Clark, Dillon Brooks. That's your starting five.
Yep, and then you got Luke Kennard off the bench.
No. You got Triple J. So Clark comes off the bench.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson. Yep.
So now you got Jaren Jackson off the bench. You got Luke Kennard off the bench. You got Tyus Jones off the bench. And then you put in, you leave a couple of your starters and whatever the case may be. So you can go 8 to 10 deep a nightly basis. And you don't have a drop off with your second unit because you got the shooter with Kennard You got the shooting with.
You got Aldama and Roddy.
You have the bodies. You're like the Portland. Remember when Portland had 2 starting lineups? One was on the bench, one was on the floor with Greg Anthony, Ross Strickland.
Yeah, the platoon swap. Yeah.
So you have that, and it's like you can win with that. If you look around at any other team out west, Golden State has Steph and Clay. And then when those guys go, if Steph and Clay went to the bench at the same time, what do your points come from at Golden State? Realistic.
Wiggins.
Sabonis and Fox go to the bench at the same time. What do your points come from Sacramento?
Malik Monk.
LeBron and AD go to the bench same time at LA. What do your points come from? Booker and KD go to the bench. What do your points come from?
Nowhere.
Ja Morant, Desmond Bain go to the bench. What do your points come from? Triple J.
Jaren Jackson. Mm-hmm.
You got Kennard as a shooter. Tyus Jones is a viable point guard. You leave Dillon Brooks in defensively. Maybe he gets some shots off. And maybe Clark or Steven Adams in there to rebound the ball. Or now at this point, oh boy, Tillman, went to Villanova. So I think they could run 10 or 11 deep and be good to go. The problem is they're going to look at Dallas and see Kyrie and Luka. They're going to look at Phoenix and only see Booker and KD. They're going to look at LA and only see LeBron and AD. They're going to look at Golden State and only see Steph and Clay and think, we need that. And they're going to make their decisions based off of that, not recognizing that you have that already in place. And I think they're gonna butcher it. If he was coming there talking about I want $30 million, like dog, I need a point per million if you want $30 million.
Right.
Like if I'm paying you $30 million, like these guys that are getting $40 million, if I'm a coach or a GM, I'm like, I need 30 points and 10 assists. I need 50 points from you as an individual. No coaching, nothing else. I need 30 points and 10 assists. That gets me anywhere from.
And 50. What do you know? What do you know? Golden State still out here missing threes.
They'll figure it out eventually. My stream stopped, but I'll catch it up again.
Yeah, so we're at 14-11 with about 4 minutes left in the first quarter. JaMychal Green for 3 misses. Rui with the rebound. So here's some other places that I thought. So I wanted your opinion on this one. So we both agree that Miami could be a good spot because I like Jimmy Butler putting him in his place, and when he gets out of line, but he balances off. Now Jimmy can focus on the score and he can do the crazy, going to what you were saying earlier.
Correct.
So what do you think about the Jazz?
Nah.
No?
The Jazz only need players that come in and like to do pick and roll and bounce passes, rebound. They need guys that are cool winning 43 to 44 games. They need guys that look good on billboards and postcards, and they look guys that go to the children's hospital. The Jazz literally Utah, like I mean,
so
I love
those
Utah.
braids ain't going to play with the Mormons.
It's not even the braids; it's the fact that like they don't need you. They don't need you to play successful basketball for them to love you. They love BYU football. They love University of Utah football. They love the Jazz. Just be relevant. They don't like. Right, they're gonna love Colin Sexton. He will do nothing for them.
So I also thought that, and we talked about this the other day. I thought that, so next year, so not this year, but next year, Harrison Barnes is a free agent.
After the 2024
after
season?
After the 2024 season. So I thought a swap there, or you ain't gonna get a sign and trade now, I guess, but I thought that he could be a Harrison Barnes replacement if Sacramento were to trade him to get him off the books a year early or whatever. That could be a thing.
Sacramento paying right now. If we had to
Sacramento, they're paying De'Aaron, and
not many guys getting over 30, right?
No, can't be, no. And then the last spot, well, besides the Lakers, the last spot that I thought about. Now, for this to happen, this team would have to make some other moves potentially. But I thought about the T-Wolves. because Kyle Anderson's a free agent.
I think the
So
team is such a poorly run organization. I wouldn't go there.
Well,
I
that's
think
why I
they'll
said
make
they
a
would have to
bad
make some
move.
other moves. That's why I said they would have to make some other moves for that to work. But I think that could work down the road. But I think that,
What move
you know,
would you think? Like, who would you have to get rid of?
you would have to get rid of Carl with a K because
Nah.
he's making way too much money and not providing anything for you. But he's young enough that I think teams would be interested in him. I don't know how many teams would be interested in Gobert right now, with what
Oh,
he's
none.
making. Yeah,
None.
exactly. So that's
It's
why it would
$20
have to
million
be
deal.
because you're not gonna get rid of Anthony Edwards, unless he throws some more chairs at women. But you're not gonna get rid of him. Mike Conley is on his last legs. Like, he's still playing well, but he's on his last legs. So you're gonna need your point guard for the future and all that good stuff. But I think that he could fit in there. But you just gotta get rid of Karl Anthony Towns. But that's a whole nother
But I
conversation.
think I
That
think yeah, if you get rid of Karl Anthony Towns, you're giving up way too much potential offense for an expectation of an overvalued defense.
Right,
Like
and that was my point about Dillon Brooks.
if I can get 26 points from Karl Anthony Towns, I'll take that over potentially only getting 11 from Dillon Brooks and him still giving up
See,
27 guarding the other team's best player.
and that's where I think we are on Dillon Brooks. I think that I undervalue him somewhat, and I think that you overvalue him somewhat.
See, what that's my value is placement based. I think I think the way Golden State paid Draymond is the way other teams should pay a guy who gives you what Draymond gives you. Draymond does give you a little bit more ball handling skills. He kind of runs the offense. So I give you he's an upper echelon
Well, he's one
average
of the
stat
main
line
reasons.
guy.
He's one of the main reasons Steph has become the player he's become, because he
Yeah.
took a lot
So
of
like
dribbles out of Steph's hands.
yeah, so if you take an average stat line player, Draymond is the upper echelon version of that kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But what he does, he gives you gritty defense. He can guard essentially 2,
Everybody.
3, 5. I don't know. I wouldn't put him out on point guards generally. I wouldn't have him
And
switch out Damian Lillard a lot of times in a game.
no, but I have him pick up Marcus Smart.
I have him pick up Marcus Smart. I have him pick up
just matchup
Schroeder.
dependent.
I have him match
Matchup
up on
dependent.
Schroeder.
Yeah,
I even put him on. I'd put him on Chris Paul right now.
Yeah.
On the switch, I have him switch Steph off,
Mm-hmm.
and have him challenge Chris Paul at the top.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Dillon Brooks brings you, is hopefully he brings some of that Draymond with him, but he's also 6 years younger.
Pay him, but we'd have to pay Dillon Brooks that kind of money. It'd be like, yo, give me what Draymond gives me, and I
don't think he's worth that.
But
I don't think he's worth that.
Draymond, I think he's on what, an $82 million extension, so he's getting $26 million. 24.
Yeah, but see, Draymond does the things, this is the cliche, right? It goes beyond the stat sheet, So like Draymond is their defensive anchor, and like I said, he takes a lot. He leaves a lot of miles on Steph, because Steph doesn't have to run the offense traditionally.
Yeah, but Ja Morant doesn't run off the ball, so I think the energy that Draymond is saving Steph by allowing Steph to run, well, Ja's not doing all that running. But he has zero defensive responsibility.
No, but I'm just saying that's the difference between him and Draymond, though, as they are.
I think it balances out.
Those are the extra things that Draymond brings that may warrant him getting that type of contract. Dillon Brooks hasn't shown us anything outside of we think he can play defense that would warrant him getting that type of payday. And I don't think his defense is that that level of pay.
But I think what he does defensively, I think his size, I think the fact that he doesn't take a lot of shots, and it allows, like, Ja Morant. Is Ja Morant matching up with Steph Curry? Or are you going to put...
Probably not.
He's not. He's not. Maybe he matches up with Dame Lillard, but he's not matching up. He's probably not even matching up with Cade Cunningham if they play a game against Detroit, because they know he's going to dribble the ball a lot. The same thing with.
But you can fill another 6'7", 6. You could fill another 6'7", 6'8" guy to do that. Cool. It doesn't have to be Dillon Brooks.
As So when people thought Patrick Beverly could just be this bulldog that played defense, how
Mm-hmm.
quickly did he get traded for multiple teams in the last 12
Mm-hmm.
months?
That could be
Because
Dillon Brooks.
but you need a little size, and I think
You
Dillon
know,
Brooks gives you the size. Obviously, you need a core of players and coaches that kind of can
right. And that's why,
give
that's
them
why I said I would,
direction. But I
and that's
think
why I said,
cutting that check and some veterans, I think that gives you direction.
and that's why I said I would want him to stay in Memphis because he is a part
I
of
want
their
him to
core,
stay in Memphis.
and I like Memphis's coach. Taylor Jenkins is a good coach. You know what I mean? But I just think
I
that
think they're good in the
I,
West in
I don't
2024.
I don't know why Memphis is doing this. Like it can't, like you said, it can't be because they lost to the Lakers. That can't be the reason. You know, because it can't be like you made us lose this series because you
All of a
poked the bear.
sudden, these 6
Right,
games made us
right.
make this level of
But
determination on you.
But as I said, at the trade deadline, they did go after Mikal and OG. So maybe they were willing to move him then.
Yeah, but if you measure Mikal Bridges' arms, you're like, I'll take the new young version of KD. Because a lot of players you think about, like you got the guy Anthony Simmons
So
in
Anthony
Portland,
Simons in Portland, yeah,
Simons in Portland. You
yeah,
have
yeah.
uh granted AD came out and he turned into a star. Malcolm Brogdon and Boston, even Jaylen Brown. A lot of people probably were out on Jaylen Brown for a while, but it was like, just give him 18 shots. Give him these shots and see what happens. And I think that if a good GM around the league is looking like, there's a lot of guys in the league that, like I said, we talk about this all the time when they do the little pregame interviews and everyone's doing the shoot around, the ball's just dropping in. I think Jordan Poole on another team would be viable. I don't know if they're a playoff team, but I think Jordan Poole can get you 27 points in Detroit. I don't know if
He could be Earl. He could be. I was about to say Earl. He could be Jordan Clarkson.
Yeah, Jordan Clarkson. You put him in Utah. You have him come off the bench. He plays hard. It looks good. That's why Utah's like, oh, we're good. We're good with
that could be Jordan Poole.
I come here 41 times a year, and the team on the floor gives me enough entertainment to where I
think
don't
Jordan
need to win
Poole
58 games.
I think somebody saw Jordan Poole hit a couple of shots, whether it was in practice, whether it was in a game or whatever, or they were just playing horse, and they said, "Wow, what a transition we got if we go from Steph to Jordan Poole. He brings a lot of the same stuff." I think somebody did that.
He does a lot. He does a lot of the same stuff that Steph does, as far as like wear on the floor and how he comes off pick and roll.
But he does more of the bird brain shit that Steph does than he does the high IQ stuff that Steph does.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Like I said, that 28-footer in game 1 was like,
yeah,
dog.
That was his Carlton moment.
Dribbles.
And we are at the end of the first quarter. 22-21, LA leading the Golden State Warriors. So, we got a competitive game so far. We'll see if that keeps up. So, speaking of taking all the shots, how many shots are people going to give the Buffalo Bills to get it right? Are they going to the Super Bowl this year?
No. I'm gonna say no, because I don't think they've done anything that tells me that they improved on the aspect of the game that I think they had the most problems with, and that was their inability to give you a different look from the run game. They never just literally go shotgun. You can go 4 wide. Just run the inside zone handoff every once in a while. Tell Josh, don't keep it on the RPO. Just give it up. Let Singletary,
don't throw it 41 yards on 31.
Or Naheem Hines. Back the man ran 2 kickoffs back in a NFL game. 1 game. Atlanta had Cordell Patterson run a kickoff back last year. It was something like the first kickoff they ran back for a touchdown since 2009. Devin Hester had a couple of punts when he played his brief stint in Atlanta, but it doesn't happen often. This dude did it 2 times in 1 game, but you can't figure out a way to get him 8 to 12 carries.
I know that's the problem, and that's why. And obviously, I picked Buffalo to go to the Super Bowl last year. They started.
I argue with them then too.
They started out like gangbusters, the way they beat up on the Rams, but then we obviously learned that the Rams, weren't worthy of being called defending champion, but that's a whole nother story. So, I'm looking at the AFC East, and I still think Buffalo wins it though.
So you got Buffalo winning the AFC East.
Yeah, I got Buffalo winning the AFC East. I don't trust Tua. I don't trust his health enough. I think there will be some early season catching up with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, and I just don't think the Patriots are very good.
Yeah, they are really resting on the fact that this dude named Tom used to play there. Like, he's not coming back, right? If he comes back at all, he's playing to replace Tua. So he's playing against you at least one of those games.
If he come back, he's coming to replace Belichick.
Oh, can you imagine? Like I said, most great players don't make good coaches.
Oh, I know. But yeah, I think I know. I just think that Buffalo, I mean, they had the best defense in the league the last 2 years, or at least top 2 the last 2 years. I don't think their defense is going to fall off enough for the rest of the division to catch up. Like I said, I don't trust Tua's health. The first hit that he takes, he may get shut down. We just don't know. Miami has a lot of speed.
Will not let him. I think with Tua has lost the benefit of the doubt of yo, put me back in, I got this, and they're like, nah, man, we can't. And they're paying him $30 million. I think they picked up his 5th-year option. They're paying him $30 million. But yeah, like I think Buffalo is the creme de la creme in this division. You have Tua, health risk, Rodgers, new quarterback. Mac Jones he's a foot and a half out the door before he gets replaced by Bailey Zappi.
Not all his fault, but
New England starts out 1-3. Mac Jones might as well go ahead and get a burgundy shirt and a visor and go down with Nick Saban to be the quarterback coach. Because he's not getting
somebody will give him a chance.
Why?
Why? Because you gotta think about it.
What does he do on the field that says you're a GM?
Okay, so this is the bullshit that I don't like. Right, quarterback wins. You know what I mean? But he did get them to the playoffs.
No. What in one game?
Hold up, and then they gave him a defensive coordinator as his offensive play caller.
True, yeah, but he wasn't lighting it up before then either.
No, he wasn't lighting it up before then. His
pass completion percentage with passes that travel 15 yards down the field was something
like.
Well,
this is only his 3rd year. Like, you know what I mean? This isn't like he's been around for like 5 years or something.
Yeah, but when you saw Lamar throw a deep post route, you're like, okay, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing. When you see Josh Allen, granted his completion percentage early on was like 56%, but when you see him drop back and fire that thing off, it makes sense. Joe Burrow, doing great in Cincinnati before he got.
I never thought,
but you can.
I never thought.
You can see like, okay, this dude can make it work.
I never thought Mac Jones was going to be a very good NFL quarterback. Michael McCorkle Jones. I never thought that he was going to be a great or a good NFL quarterback. That's just me, though, and I've been wrong before. But what I'm saying is, like, this is only his 3rd year that he's going into. He has led a team to the playoffs. So I could see somebody giving a shot out. I mean, Sam Darnold's still getting jobs. Sam Darnold's still getting jobs. But
he's terrible. We say he's terrible. He's getting shots, but we also say we don't expect
Baker Mayfield getting shots.
And we also say we don't expect him to do much. Like,
no, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Mac Jones is going to go somewhere and become a starter. I'm just saying that I think someone will add him to their roster at some point.
But I don't
That's all
think.
I'm saying.
But there's nothing on the field that you can point to that says this is why he's getting a shot. Let me think about this. Let me try to give it like an example. Like I'm trying to think. Okay, Barrios, the wide receiver that was playing with the Jets last year.
Jets.
For the Jets. You can see why a team would be like, you know what? I can do something with what he brings on the football field. I can put him somewhere where I can get X, Y, Z out of him.
I think that Mac
Jones, and he's not even
Jones
a star.
Is young enough.
But like, if you look at Mac Jones, it's like, does he have a strong arm?
I think no. I think Mac Jones is a young enough quarterback that these offensive dudes in the NFL that have egos think that they can do something with him.
I think more people would take a shot on Zach Wilson because Zach Wilson has a bigger arm.
He has the arm.
But I think each one of them just when you like I said,
I just think neither one is a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I think I'll go back to the Mark Slayer comparison I made last week when he's talking about Heath Sherler versus Gus Frerotte. He's like, at the first practice, I knew that our top 5 pick was terrible, but the guy we got in the 7th round looked like he knew what he was doing. I don't think there's much you can say. Like Mac Jones, his completion percentage, his pass. Trevor Lawrence had a pretty awful rookie year with Urban Meyer, but you're like, you know what? I see something there. Peyton Manning threw 28 picks. It's still a record. He's been begging for somebody to break that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I said I never thought he was going to be a good NFL quarterback, but I also think that he hasn't necessarily been set up for success either. I mean, they didn't even bring back Kendrick Bourne this season. You know what I mean? So who's he throwing it to?
Oh yeah, I mean, like I never thought he was going to be that good because I watched the pockets he was throwing the passes from in Alabama, and I was like, this dude has zero struggle, and he's going to go to New England, who has zero offensive identity, and it's going to be shown. He has like his completion percentage, 15 plus yard air distance, is something like 18%. It's something super low. But so
that's why we go from my guy Bailey Zappi,
and they ran 4 plays in that Green Bay game.
Yeah, his arm might be just as weak as Matt Jones,
but he could throw a hell of a drag route. So AFC South, because I agree with you.
It's got to be Jacksonville. It's got to be Jacksonville.
It's got to be Jacksonville, right? It's got to be.
It's got to be.
But can it be Tennessee?
No.
Why not? Because they want to stick with Tannehill?
I also don't think their defense is good enough to overcome. So looking at the division, Tennessee could possibly beat. We just don't know what CJ Stroud is going to be right now. We don't know what Anthony Richardson is going to be right now. So you would put them ahead, I guess.
They're going to be 18 interception rookies.
Yeah, so you would put Tennessee ahead of them right now just on principle until we get to see some more things or hear some more things coming out of camp. But I just don't think that – I think Tennessee's done from the standpoint of we're done with Tannehill as fans. But I feel like the players are done with him.
What's the knock with Tannehill? Like, what did he do wrong?
He didn't do anything wrong, but he's of that. I'm not making a comparison. He's of that Jimmy G mold. You know what I mean? Where he's crafty enough. He can make a play. He can keep you in a game, but you're never going to go into a game and be like,
but third
we got Ryan Tannehill.
I need this timely throw, 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. He doesn't make that play.
I mean, think about it like this. And you've heard me say this before. I might have even said it on the show before. They lost a playoff game where they got 9 sacks.
Because he threw an late game interception. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cincinnati ended every game that playoff series short of the Super Bowl with the defensive interception. So
yeah. But I'm just saying, like when I think of Ryan Tannehill, I think of a guy that you start because you don't believe in any other quarterback on your roster, and you're thinking of the next draft of who you're going to bring in to have him come up.
He's Kurt Warner with Eli Manning on the bench.
Yes, so they got Will Levis now.
Kurt Warner was in the Giants, and they played him 8 games, and he was going to put in Eli Manning.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Levis is starting before the end of the year.
What about Malik Willis? Could he beat Levis out?
I will not be shocked if Levis starts.
That'll be listen.
Because like you always say, Vrabel doesn't want Willis. So like
not at all.
And
I knew that from his first preseason press conference. He did not want Malik Willis.
And going back to what you just said about Mac Jones, Levis does have that arm. You know what I mean? I don't think it's very accurate, but he has that arm. You know what I mean? Malik Willis, we knew you pointed out all the time. Vrabel wanted nothing to do with Malik Willis. So one of two things. So one of two things is going to happen, and possibly two. Levis is probably going to start at some point this season. Vrabel ain't coming back next year.
That I think, when we do our hot seat topic here in about August time frame, he'll probably be on it. So
I got Jacksonville in that division. Yep.
North, you got Cincy, I imagine.
Yeah, I got Cincinnati. I just think that so what I don't like about Cincinnati is they lost both their safeties. So I don't like that. Jesse Bates, new Falcon, what I'm saying? I don't like that part of it, but this is my thing, so maybe it's old school bias and just memories, but I just don't trust the Browns in anything. I just don't trust the
Oh,
Browns in anything that they
I've
do.
like this conversation. I literally didn't even think about them. I've been thinking
I
Cincinnati and
know,
Baltimore,
I know.
and I
I'm
love
working my way up
Pittsburgh.
from. I'm working my way
Yeah.
up through the levels.
When you said
Pittsburgh.
Cleveland, when you said the Browns, it reminded me that they were in the same division that we're having a
So
discussion about.
so Pittsburgh is going to piss somebody off this season because they're going to beat somebody they ain't got no business beating.
And they're gonna go
Tomlin's going
nine
to
and
go
eight.
9-8 or 10 and
Yep.
6 or 10 and 7, and that's just going to be what it is. But I don't think they're ready yet. Pickett, I like Pickett. I think he's going to be better than Mac Jones at least. But I think he's still a year off probably. Then we get to Baltimore, my hometown, baby. Lamar's back and he's signed. They got Mr. Odell Beckham Jr. They got Zay Flowers, who I liked in the draft. And
Who didn't know all the teams in the AFC North.
And I actually like Rashad Bateman too. But this is the great thing, right? Because Rashad Bateman, instead of being the number 1, gets to be the number 3 now. So I think that'll work out for Baltimore. I just don't know if Baltimore has the defense that we're used to Baltimore having. And that's where I think Cincinnati is going to, and I think that Cincinnati.
I think their defense in Baltimore,
they got good players.
Young.
They have good players.
They played young last year. Their whole secondary was young.
Right.
And they drafted
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
Out of Notre Dame, but they played a year and they got torched. That Miami game,
that's what I mean. I'm not saying that they're going to be bottom 3rd defense or anything like that. I just don't think they're going to be the Baltimore standard. And Draymond
you don't
is
think
down.
That they'll be able to
he's
look
back
at
up now.
Film?
Okay.
You don't think they'll be able to look at the film from those games?
I think they will, but I think
and then the defensive coordinator like, yo, just stay here. Stay here.
But I think Harbaugh is in that
17
same
yards
boat.
from the line of scrimmage. Don't come down to 14. That way you don't get beat up.
But I think that Harbaugh is in that same boat of, is it time? Because we talk about his decision making all the time. We talk about Joe Mazzulla losing the Celtics games. Harbaugh done lost the Ravens some games over the last couple of years.
He lost in the division the last couple of years because he put them behind the 8 ball in games where, like a couple of games where they should have, if they win the game, they're either tied for the division lead at like week 11, week 10, week 11, 6-4, 6-5. Like they're like 6-4, 6-3 in that range after a bye week. And they're tied. But they go for the 2 and lose, and now they're tied for the division versus being a game ahead. He did that a few times over the last couple of years, and it's like, we talked about the whole Buffalo going for it on 4th and 1 and not running the ball.
And don't forget, and like I said, so I think that's why Cincinnati wins the division. But with the caveat of, I also don't trust Lamar's health. Like, he's missed at least 5 games the last 2 seasons. So I don't know where we at on that.
But I think a lot of those hits were just it was like he got hit in the pocket. I think it sometimes helps.
Oh no, it has nothing to do with his play style. Yeah, it has nothing to do with his playing style.
Yeah.
I'm not making that.
Sometimes it's a matter of like when a guy isn't healthy, I look at it like when I can't trust the guy's health is if you have too many soft tissue injuries.
So did LeBron just knock some sense into Draymond? We gonna see a smart Draymond now? Anyway,
I don't know. I'm still waiting on my stream. My stream, went down. I'm just kind of
there was long pass. Draymond went up for it. LeBron bumped him. He fell and banged his head on the baseline. So normal common foul, nothing crazy. But I thought like LeBron didn't hit him hard. It was just like one of those hit check things, where Draymond was in the air. So
they're business partners. He's not gonna try to hurt him.
Yeah, he's back in the game. We're 35-33 Lakers with 6:26 left. Steph just took a crazy ass 3 that we would have got on Jordan Poole for, and he missed it just like Jordan Poole would have. But anyway, So I got the Bengals winning that division, and then of course I don't need to like make it all fancy and shit. Kansas City's going to win the West.
Oh yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, we don't got to get fancy with that one.
Yeah. So I got Baltimore win the AFC North just because I think Baltimore has a core identity that they'll stick to. even with the new offensive coordinator. So I just figured it'll be
Yeah,
close.
and I mean, and they got Odell Beckham
11.
now.
It'll be 11-6, 10-7.
Yeah, they
I
got
don't think
Odell Beckham
Cincinnati's
now,
going to be
and they got to
terrible.
take the top off the defense. So yeah.
So if we are we going to go wild cards, or we're just going to stick with the divisions?
No, we can go wild card because we both going to agree that Kansas City's going to win the West.
Yep, got that.
Yeah, so wild card, I ended up
In
with the
any
Jets.
order.
Yeah, Jets. Over Miami. I got the Ravens, because I think Cincinnati wins the division, but like I said, it's probably within a game or two. It's nothing crazy. And then I got the Chargers getting in from the West.
That seems pretty solid. I got Cincinnati in the wild card because I got the Ravens winning division.
Right.
I think we're pretty even. I'm not sold on the Jets simply because I'm rarely sold on teams that feel as if they are simply a quarterback away.
Oh, the Warriors gonna win. The Warriors gonna win.
What's the stat that they popped on TV?
No, Draymond just hit a layup and he did his thing at the crowd. Like, they win when he do that. He's been quiet these last couple. But
they
anyway,
they lose about 12.
Yeah.
116, 104. So a team like the Jets, when teams come out and say we're a quarterback away from, this upper echelon success, I think you're going to have your ebbs and flows of a season. Like we've had Kansas City past couple of years be 2-2, 3-2. They lost the game last year to Indianapolis. People thought it was a wrap because they scored under 20 points. I think some of those teams are capable of galvanizing, getting together, and succeeding. Aaron Rodgers' teams aren't wired like that. So the Jets got to come out 4-1, 5-1, 6-2. They have to be sitting, they have to be sitting in the top of the AFC East in order to make their season. Because he did the whole RELAX, relax, the last few years in Green Bay, and they went on a run. But that's because he was there, the team that he knew, and those are individual games. Why are you always hovering around 500 if you're one of the better teams? And now you're playing in the tougher conference. You have Mahomes,
tougher division,
Burrow, tougher division. Tua, when he's on, he has so much speed in Miami. Then you even have, we'll throw in Jimmy G in the AFC West. I just think that you have more top-notch quarterback play that can get you over the hump.
I think that the Jets have a better defense than Green Bay had. I think that they have a better core of receivers. Obviously, they didn't have Devontae Adams last year, but
they got two players from Green Bay.
I'm talking about Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, but who's number one? Is Lazard or is it Wilson?
It's got to be Wilson, unless Aaron Rodgers brings some kind of politics.
They're paying Lazard a lot more,
and he's a rookie.
Paying Lazard
Wilson's a rookie,
second year guy. But he was.
Well, I'm saying like I know, but they ain't gonna rookie year and be like, "Yo, we gonna give you $10 million now." They're gonna ride out that rookie contract.
So if I bring in a quarterback that's, for lack of a better word, a bit of a diva, and he bring his luggage with him, and it's Louis.
It ain't Louis.
Lazard, Louis, it's the same thing. Tomato. If he brings that guy,
that man bought some TJ Maxx with him.
Lazard is going to be like, well, I came with him. He's here because of me, so I'm the number one guy. And Garrett Wilson, no, I'm the rookie of the year. I'm like, y'all came here to my team.
They just got to fight, bro.
How good is Aaron with young quarterbacks? If any wild card pick that we have, I don't know who to insert right now, but I think because so many other teams have young quarterbacks, because you have the AFC South, unless maybe Tennessee sticks with Tannehill, but that's the problem. We don't know if they're going to stick with Tannehill. AFC West, maybe Denver with Sean
Maybe
Payton.
they get right. Yeah, maybe they
Maybe
get
they get
right.
it together. So I think I'm gonna go Denver simply because I don't. If the Jets don't win the division, if they're not front running, I don't know if they can get to 5-6 and then go 5-1 in their next 6 games. So, but I think at some point, I know when the schedule is going to lay out. I just have a feeling that the Jets, because they are the Jets, are going to have a 3-4, 4-3 kind of start.
Yeah, and when we see their schedule, we might, I might change that depending on how the games line up. Do they play Buffalo and Baltimore back to back or something like that?
Yeah.
Do they, stuff like that we don't have in front of us right now?
Do they play Baltimore Sunday night and Buffalo, like Baltimore Sunday night and Buffalo on Thursday?
Right, stuff like, because now
both on the road.
Yeah, so
it's
yeah,
not
stuff
far.
like that.
It's like you're going to Maryland, you're going upstate New York, but it's like
it matters.
You're getting torched in Maryland at M&T Bank Stadium, and then you got to go up to what I think is New Era Stadium or something in Buffalo.
Yeah. Plus, we got to see if they're going to continue to let Sauce Gardner, Richard Sherman people too.
Listen, he will, because people like him. Jessica Alba likes him. So if we go over to NFC, let's go NFC East. Are you gonna pick against your squad?
I'm gonna go with the Eagles to win the division. I could see Dallas putting up a fight. I think the Giants will be good, but not good enough. And I think Washington will bring up the rear.
I saw a little thing on our group. The Eagles front, like the Eagles defensive front, is Jordan Davis, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and what's the dude coming off ACL surgery? Barnett?
Barnett, yep.
And then the second unit is Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. Who they had another defensive, like a couple of defensive ends. I'm like, dog, if they want to do something ridiculous, like, yeah, we're gonna run a 4-6. We just gonna put 6 defensive linemen out there and just see. Just week 2 versus
against Washington.
Washington and Houston. They get a game against Carolina. Hell, even Atlanta. Like, we're gonna run this Buddy Ryan 4-6.
And they just replaced him.
And it worked.
And they just replaced Miles Sanders with DeAndre Swift.
and they're not gonna run Jalen Hurts that much, because it's like, we just paid you $250 million, so we about to run these running backs down your throat. And I think they still more offensive linemen.
Yep, and they want to. From what I was reading, they want to get Gainwell more involved in the offense. And then, oh, by the way, they still got AJ Brown
all day long.
Yeah, they still got AJ Brown and Devontae Smith on the outside. And they still got Dallas Goedert.
Stop it! All right, so we're gonna skip the Eagles.
Yeah, they're like a dream team.
Super team. If they were a basketball team, people would be comparing them.
Yeah.
All right. So then we go NFC South. You got.
It's a tough decision, man. But I land on the Saints. I just think they have the best combination of quarterback and defense in the division.
I'm gonna pick Atlanta, not because I'm a fan.
I know.
I just don't think
you don't know enough about Desmond Ridder to pick Atlanta.
Well, I do know that they're gonna hand the ball off.
I'm saying you didn't even know Desmond Ridder was half black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can tell he was beige. I got a couple of them in my house. I just know that what they're gonna do. I'm assuming, hopefully, they stop running that play. They got Kyle Pitts hurt. With the little action with Zacchaeus and all this stuff. I just think that
Drake London rocked a few times.
Got him mollywopped many times. Like he got hit in the Carolina game. I think Washington took him out. It's just pretty ridiculous. But I do think that they run the ball well. You got Tyler Algier, you got Bijan Robinson. I wasn't big on. They bolstered the defense. They got Okudah. They got Calais Campbell. They got out of I don't want Anyamata from New Orleans. They went out got Jesse Bates.
Woo.
So what they did basically was say, all right, we're gonna play tough defense and run the ball and throw the ball short. So I like that part. I don't trust Dennis Allen, the New Orleans head coach. I just think that he just kind of rode the coattails of Sean Payton after he was fired by the Raiders. And then Derek Carr hasn't really shown much as far as being success. And I just think that New Orleans, I think the way they play has never really, it hasn't been recently where like they've been dominant and just a couple things just haven't gone their way. So I'm gonna go with Atlanta winning NFC South as a fan. Tampa Bay has
who finishes last in that division?
Who finishes last? Carolina.
Yeah,
Carolina. They made a bad trade with Chicago.
Yeah, so it's 48-47. Steph is staring in the crowd now. You know, he hit a 3 in Anthony Davis's face and then got an and one. So now he's staring at the crowd. So, you know, Warriors are back to their front running ways, maybe.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I think
from the third.
Yeah, I like Bryce Young, but this ain't the year.
They traded away DJ Moore. I would have traded away a defensive tackle. Chicago would have taken whatever top player you felt, whatever good player you could have given them. They probably would have taken them.
Could Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield sneak up on people?
No, because I don't think people have faith in Baker Mayfield. I think the confidence in Baker Mayfield, I think his individual intrinsic confidence is a 12. But I think when they start off 0-3, it won't be the same.
All right.
So that's,
and then we got the NFC North. How will be the North be won?
I got Minnesota. I like Minnesota. I think they're a regular season team. I think they played their weapons very well. I think they drafted a wide receiver to replace Thielen. A good one. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. And I like Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk gets you I think he gets you to 300 yards a game you need. He might not have your Mahomes highlight reel. He might not have the accolades of Aaron Rodgers. But what I think he gives you, I think he gives you no ego, win, lose, or draw, just being a good player.
Yeah, they got the former Biletnikoff winner, Jordan Addison. That's who it was.
Yeah. So I don't think their offense changes.
Secondary still slow.
But listen, they came back down by 32 points against 33 points against Indy. You don't do that by having a mediocre offense.
Well, I think I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid, and I'm gonna pick the Lions to win the division. You know, they did the 9-8 thing last year. You know, Jared Goff built some momentum with that team.
They picked up a quarterback.
You know, they picked up a lot of secondary in the offseason, you know, to combat teams like Minnesota. They did draft a quarterback. You know, but
that's
I think
Detroit being Detroit. That's just simply Detroit being Detroit. There's no reason for you to be in the market for a quarterback.
I think that Minnesota will be good. You know, so I got the Lions at about 10-7. Minnesota maybe even with the same record, but just some kind of tiebreaker works out for Detroit. I think they're really close. What I do know is that it ain't gonna be Green Bay or Chicago.
Chicago could shock people, but
a shock for me would be if they won 7 games.
It just seems like they were in position after they traded that number 1 pick. They were in position to really bolster their team and make it viable. And it didn't seem like they made any moves after that trade that will allow me to think as a rational sports fan that they made any great moves. I think they got an offensive lineman in the first.
Yep. And it is what it is. I mean, they're a team that needed a lot of pieces. They do have DJ Moore, so that will definitely help, young Fields out. Steph with 15, 7 and 7 with 3 steals, 50-49, 7.5 seconds left in the second quarter. Steph at the free throw line for 2.
Oh, they didn't challenge that because that's a charge.
Oh, I think they're challenging it now. I think they just walked out to challenge it.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a charge.
I think they just challenged it as you were saying it.
Yeah, okay.
Because Kerr's talking to the ref now too. But yeah, so
that's a charge.
But yeah, I think if Chicago wins 7 games, I'll be surprised. Anything like as we sit here today, Chicago maybe wins 4 games.
They're only a 4-game. They didn't make enough moves to give you.
They still need a lot. They still need a lot. They picked up Chase Claypool, at the trade deadline last year. So maybe
if these guys know their role, they might.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Having DJ DJ Moore, it goes back to what I was saying about Baltimore, where Rashard Bateman slides over to the 3 spot. Now Claypool slides down a peg, and your offense might get better just off of that.
They got Mooney at 3.
You still got Mooney, who I like. I do like Mooney.
Justin just has to let the ball go.
Yes.
I watched so many times he'll rotate his hips and pump fake. It's like, dog, nobody else is getting open. This is the NFL. Right. Everybody's as fast as you.
All right, now we gotta get this quick. We're running up on time here. So, I got Seattle winning the West. I got Seattle winning the West as my wild cards. I got Dallas out the East. I got the Giants out the East. Minnesota, since I picked Detroit to win the division. And then I have San Francisco as my last wild card, just because I think whoever wins the South is going to be similar to this year, where it's like that 9-8, 8-9 range, and then somebody wins it the last week. They upheld the call. Steph is taking his free throws. Go ahead, Mr. Rutley.
I'm going to go Dallas, Detroit, and New Orleans.
Damn, no love for Daniel Jones?
No, because he has to try to run through Philly's line twice a year. He's going to have to try to out
Micah Parsons.
He's going to try to have to out-duel Dak. And then I think Washington is still one. Just something about Washington is still one.
And we got 52-49 Warriors at the half. LeBron misses the 3 at the buzzer, off balance. So the Warriors are up 3 at halftime. Yeah, so then taking it all the way through, we ain't got to go playoff matchups, but who do you got in your Super Bowl as of May 8th, year of our Lord, 2023?
This is boring. Kansas City.
Hey, but you're logical. Logical rematch. Is boring. Kansas City.
Yeah, logical is pretty boring. So I'm gonna go Kansas City, Philly. I like what the NFC. I like what the AFC has done. I like their young guns. I can't bet against history. History being Kansas City hosting the AFC Championship game, and the history of teams that have a great defense, run the ball, and they have good quarterback play. They tend to win every week because 2 out of 3 of those things, you don't even need all 3 to work. Because if your defense isn't playing well, you can still run the ball and eat clock, and your quarterback still can make plays. If your quarterback is having a bad day, but you can run the ball well and play great defense, you can still win the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So same thing if you're not running the ball well, but your quarterback is out of sight, i.e. like what Kansas City did in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes threw for less than 200 yards, but threw 3 touchdowns.
Yep, and everything he did in that game was important.
Yeah, then he scrambled. I think he probably had the biggest run of the game for the team, and his defense made timely plays. Strip sack, fumble, and then the second play that was reversed, but it's the same thing. They just made those plays. So I think Eagles that way. Kansas City just has such an advantage between coach, quarterback, and scheme that I don't know if Buffalo can compensate. Jacksonville can try to. They had an opportunity, but they had him on one leg and couldn't beat him last year. If he stays healthy, I don't know how that game goes. But it's boring. I don't know if we had a Super Bowl matchup ever, like back to back years. I can't think off the top of my head. Maybe the Dallas Buffalo years, but even then I can't recall.
Yeah, they did. They did. Yeah, they did.
They have a they went back to back.
Yeah.
Or
they lost
like
Buffalo lost to the Giants the first year, Washington the second year, and then lost to the Cowboys back to back. Okay. Then the Cowboys went back and the Cowboys went back a couple of years after that to when they played the Steelers. But
like I said, it wasn't back to back. So like
it was back to back. It was back to back.
No, I'm talking about like Steelers versus Cowboys 2 years in a row.
Oh no, but Buffalo and Dallas was. Buffalo and Dallas was. So I put a lot of thought into this. I got Philly against Buffalo. No, I'm just playing. I ain't got Buffalo this time. just playing. So I thought about going shocker here. I wanted to go Philly and Chargers. Is where I wanted to go with this, just to be different and not boring. But I think I'm gonna land on Philly and Baltimore.
That's tough. I mean, that's tough. I think that would be entertaining. That'd be huge for this region.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It'll be huge for this region.
If Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, I don't know what's going to stop him and Odell Beckham. That's going to be a tough combination, provided that they both stay healthy, because Odell has some issues as well.
Odell is your intermediate guy, and you have Zay Flowers.
Yeah, he's going to be your Tyreek Hill guy
from the slot. It's like that.
Nope.
That's tough. That's tough. And then you got Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley backing him up. So shout out to Utah.
All right. Pro Bowl Tyler. Pro Bowl Huntley. That's what we call him around these parts. And then, so Buffalo has been working on this for years, trying to get this run game together and working on this process. But as we get into processes, how good did the Philadelphia 76ers do the process?
If we go on 1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being not good, I got him at a 2.75 or a 3. Because think about it. The thing about the NBA, and we've had this conversation before with the draft picks and the whole worst to first construct, it happens in other sports where you are bad for X amount of years. Talk about the Royals. We'll talk about Jacksonville.
The Pirates.
Atlanta had a couple of bad years as an NFL squad. They drafted and they trade up to top 6, stuff like that. So these teams are, they're bad. So Philly just like, listen, we're going to lean into this. And really all they got out of it was Joel Embiid and James Harden with a trade for Ben Simmons. They could have kept all the players that they gave up and all the bad draft picks where they took Markelle Fultz instead of Jason Tatum.
You know who else was in that draft too?
Lonzo Ball was 2.
Well, I wasn't going to talk about Lonzo because, knowing what we know now, he's got the knee stuff going on. But De'Aaron Fox was in that draft. He went 5. Yeah. I'm not saying you draft De'Aaron at number 1, but I'm just saying you don't make the trade to get the 1 if you get De'Aaron.
You could have made a trade with Boston and got Tatum at 3 if everyone's so sold on Fultz, whatever the case may be. They had Nerlens Noel, Jahlil Okafor. It just felt like they grabbed a bunch of names from college basketball and none of it panned out. And even Embiid sat for like almost 2 years. Ben Simmons sat for a year.
For his rookie year.
And Nerlens Noel. You end up trading because he had the ACL in the bad
college.
I think college against, I think it was a game against Tennessee. He had a bad foul.
No, it was against Florida. Yeah.
Should just let him go.
Yeah.
Just let him go. Yeah. So I think the trusted process thing was just basically they ripped the fans off for like 3 or 4 years for 160 home games, 120, 160 home games, and then sold them this dream, and that dream hasn't gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, then Hinkie
The Hawks got to
stepped
the Eastern
down,
Conference Finals.
and then Hinkie stepped down. So like, and and that's the problem is that not only that these picks didn't pan out, but they went like Noel, Okafor, and Embiid. Like where were you going with that? But like even before the process, Philly was in a weird place because they went 34 and 48 in 2012-13 and got the Bulls in the first round. That was the year Derrick Rose injured his knee. We all remember that. And they won that series. And then they took Boston to 7 in the next round. So they were a game away from being in the Eastern Conference Finals. So right now we're watching Miami go up 3-1 and probably get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But this team was 34 and 48. It was a game away from the Eastern Conference Finals. So you were already a bad team to begin with. So then they traded Drew Holiday, on draft night, which was how they ended up with Nerlens Noel, and so from there, it gets even better because they went and got Andrew Bynum, from the Lakers, who at the time, obviously, we didn't know how his knees were going to play out and all that kind of stuff like that.
He just sat on the sidelines with that 1970s fro.
Yeah, looking like Dwayne from What's Happening, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like over there. And but
look like a
they went and got him.
Film.
But it was a 4-team trade, that they did this with. So they got Bynum. They got Jason Richardson from the Magic. They traded Iguodala to Denver. And then Vucevic and Mo Harkless went to the Magic, and they gave Orlando first round, or Orlando got a first round draft pick out of it. So who won in that deal? You know what I mean? It wasn't Denver because all they got was Iggy out of it. But they got Bynum and Jason Richardson. Vucevic. Yeah, Vucevic and Mo Harkless went to Orlando. So I guess they won the trade by default. But I just don't even see the need for that trade.
Because they were so hell-bent on this concept of us tanking. Because this, like our current, excuse me, the current NBA player, college basketball player landscape, short of Bronny going to USC, for years it wasn't a large conglomerate of high school players going into college, the one and done. Like you had Derrick Rose, you had Jason Tatum. So you had some players that were doing a one and done, Kyrie Irving, but it wasn't the situation where you were going to get these blue chippers who were going to go to school for 1 year and potentially get a pick at them. Because I'm going to say the Markelle Fultz year, because I don't know if that was the same year. What's the boy that got drafted to Phoenix? Like Josh Johnson or something like that.
Josh Jackson.
He got drafted number 4 overall, but one of the cons was his ability to shoot. I'm like, why are you drafting him in fourth overall if he can't shoot? So it just felt like the college product, the player that they were getting from colleges during the peak of this process, you weren't getting peak talent. So you were better off just keeping your veteran talent and seeing what you can do with the veteran talent. Yes, you weren't going to get a top 6 pick because for some reason, GMs feel as if they can sell a top pick to the fan base, and the fan base just buys it. I'm like, no, I don't want you drafting 4th overall all the time. I don't want you vying. Like right now, San Antonio potentially can get the number 1 pick. Orlando has odds of getting the number 1 pick. Who else is at the top? I think Portland's pretty
Houston.
close. We talked about Houston. I don't want to be a fan base that every March and April and May,
Charlotte.
I gotta wait for these random ping pong balls to drop for me to get excited because this one dude who plays in this other league is gonna come in the NBA and dominate. There's dudes in the NBA right now that can't dominate. Paul George is in the NBA all the time, and he's been in it for a minute. And every week, he's not out here getting you 28, 8, and 8. Is like it's a tough league. So why you keep selling me on the fact that I'm going to get a top 3 pick?
Look at the draft this year. Everybody's literally just wanting Wembanyama, and then after him, it's what?
It's 59 other dudes who also.
we got our guy from Bama
and wore a suit.
We got our guy from Bama.
And we
But
saw
we
him
agreed
drop
with
8 points in 5 games in the tournament, however many games they played. And on top of
yeah.
the fact, he still might be going to jail. You never know.
Yeah. So,
Then
I
you got
mean,
Scoot
like,
Henderson. You got some other overtime guys. You got the 2 twins, Amir,
yeah.
Amin.
And I'm in, Thompson. Mm-hmm.
But they're 20 years
Yeah.
old playing against 17-year-olds. So how good are they? Are they just 20
Right.
and that more athletic, or are they actually good basketball players?
Yeah, so so like I'm giving the Sixers a big fat F. Like you gave them a 2.75. I'm giving them like a 0.5 because as we fast forward, you mentioned it. All they have left is Embiid. Marco. They gave up on Markel Fultz. He's in Orlando reviving his career. Ben Simmons still trying to figure out, if he even wants to play basketball. Probably.
Ben
You
Simmons doing
know,
Tai Chi in Tahiti right now. He don't care about
yeah.
basketball at all.
So everything that the Sixers did, they could have did originally because I'm sure if they wanted to trade Drew Holiday, he was an all-star at the time. Like I'm sure they could have got something nice back for Drew Holiday. They had Bynum and Jason Richardson. You know what I mean? You could
They
trade
had the rookie of
Richardson.
the year, Michael Carter Williams.
They had
And they
the
traded
rookie of
him
the year.
because he
They
came into
traded
the
him.
locker room because he was sick of losing. Literally, they had a game. He went in the locker room. He had an outburst because he was sick of losing. They traded him the following week.
I'm gonna kick the guy off the team that wants to win.
Exactly, because he doesn't trust the process. Well, like I'm out there sweating. I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to win. I'm out here grinding. I'm traveling. I'm on these planes, and I'm out here on national TV getting my brains beat in because you want to hope this dude that's playing at Kansas is good next year. Like that's nothing to do with me now playing in Philadelphia. Like, have you met a Philadelphia sports fan, like a real Philadelphia sports fan?
But see,
They'll beat you in front of your grandma.
It makes me wonder though, what they would have done in that draft where they selected Markel Fultz if Hinkie was still there, because I don't think Hinkie would have took Fultz.
I think they would have. I don't know. I don't think they would have done anything smarter. I think they would have just because Fultz for some reason was considered like the guy.
And I mean, to be fair, like I think that people thought that Jason Tatum was going to be good. I don't think people thought Jason Tatum was going to reach this level that he went to.
One guy played at Duke. One dude played at Washington. Duke
didn't make the tournament.
Duke tends to produce guys that they really tend to pan out in the NBA. Mike Krzyzewski coaches the gold medal teams. I probably would have done my due diligence on Tatum at 6'8" with that incredible hairline.
Paul George clone.
Yeah, you mean so like a beige.
Yeah, I would have loved to have heard. I would have loved to have heard that conversation between Coach K and Dillon Brooks.
They would. I think what Philly would have done though. I think they would have traded somebody early. I think they would have traded Ben Simmons, or they would have traded Embiid because Tatum would have been so impressive that they would have been like, "Oh no, all these 3 guys can work.
Let's rebuild the whole team.
Let's rebuild around Tatum, or
they would have started. It would have been. It would have been another
get rid of. I would have in that situation. If you take Tatum, Chris is all hypothetical. You have Tatum, you got Ben Simmons, you got Embiid. The NBA was transitioning from the positionless basketball. The big man is invaluable, even though we just seen big men win the MVP the last 3 years. I think they would have tried to move Embiid because I think he was coming off an injury. It wasn't. No one really saw his potential. 7 feet tall, 285, 290. I think they probably would have traded him for a bag of beans, and they would have tried to run with the 6'10" point guard and the 6'8" ball handler, and then that wouldn't have worked, and they would have been back to the process again.
Yeah,
I think the best move they made was trading Ben Simmons for James Harden.
Yeah, because I mean, what the hell was Brooklyn thinking? Brooklyn had no reason to make that trade. Like I'm sure somebody else.
Not an ounce.
I'm sure. So I give Brooklyn a F, for trading. Yeah, I mean, there had to be teams out there that would have wanted James Harden, and
Ben Simmons hadn't played either. That's the funny part. Is like he hadn't played. He never gave an inkling. He showed up to the Sixers practice with his cell phone in his pocket, with a Sixers hoodie on with no sleeves.
All I know is James Harden better not go to Houston. That's all I know.
Yo, they said it's all but certain.
If he wants to
in
go to
NBA circles under
if that
26 execs.
If that man goes to Houston, get him out of the league. Just get him out of the league. He don't want to win nothing.
Listen, man, I love Vegas and I love it for the steak and the food and the party. And so maybe he loves Houston.
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure he does love Houston, but it ain't for the food. I tell you that. Anyway, so all right. As we come up on our conclusion, Steph for 3 misses it. So Golden State comes out, get the first bucket of the second half, 54-49. About a minute passed so far in the third quarter. D'Angelo Russell for 3. He misses. Clay with the rebound. All right. So get it off my chest. So, saying I'm going to go ahead and set this off because I got a 69-year-old man that I want to talk to for a second. Mr. Bob Huggins, Cincinnati Bearcat fame, current West Virginia head coach. Now, 2-5, and if there's one thing you know about 2-5 is 2-5 is here for the rivalry. So Cincinnati and Xavier, one of the hottest rivalries that no one talks about or knows about. Back in 2011, Bob Huggins wasn't there, but they got into a brawl, So, this rivalry is heated. They're about 4.5 miles apart, 10 minutes driving from each other. So these two schools get at it. They run into each other all over the place. I love it. That's what I love about college sports. That's why I love college sports more than I love professional sports. But anyway, so Bob Huggins goes on the radio show. And, he's talking about Xavier. It comes up and he refers to them as Catholic F words that is also slang for cigarettes. And as I was sitting here, it was bad enough that he went with the homophobic slur, but he topped it off and brought the religion into it too. And this is a guy that is entrusted. One of the most
powerful ones.
This is the guy that's entrusted to coach teenagers. And, I don't want to do the cliche thing, but be the leader of men. These kids are supposed to be looking up to you, not only learning basketball techniques from you, but they're supposed to be learning life. A college coach is also teaching life, teaching valuable lessons that these kids can take forward. Now, he did teach them a valuable lesson. Watch what you say out your mouth.
Absolutely.
So we're going to see what happens, what West Virginia chooses to do. I don't think they're going to fire him or anything like that. We'll see what West Virginia chooses to do. But, this went on, they didn't come out with an apology right away. This came way later, so he had to have known. Granted, he's 69 years old. He grew up in a different era. Each generation talks a little bit different. There's some things that are sensitive today that were not sensitive then. But if you're 69, you've been alive long enough to know what today is. And, you just don't go on the radio station. You don't do that. But I'll just conclude it by saying, Coach Huggins, even though I don't like the verbiage that you used on that radio show, I do appreciate the fact that some beef is everlasting.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to get off my chest. So 59-57 Lakers.
Yeah, I saw the 3 went to Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
Was it Oklahoma Mamba, as they call him? Country Mamba or something. So my get off my chest is, I won't really get into details. I'm just going to get to the crux of what I believe should matter in a person's life. I think leadership is valuable. I think leadership is important. I think when you put yourself in a leadership position, whether you've been volunteered or you promote to that position, you should operate under the expectations that you should be good at that. Mm-hmm. Even if it doesn't come naturally to you, some people are. I've always felt like I was a good leader. It always felt natural to me. It always felt like I wanted to be out front, taking the arrows for my people and making sure they got everything they need. I just felt like that's something I wanted to do. I wanted to be out front. I wanted to give the speech. I wanted to be the student leader. I wanted to promote. So I've always wanted and had aspirations to be a leader. Some people don't have it, but if you're going to volunteer, be a coach, especially a youth coach, then you need to have that understanding that you are by default the leader and you need to operate as such. You cannot whine about the behavior of the people you're supposed to lead when you're supposed to establish the example for these people. You're supposed to always have their back. Always. If they're wrong and you have their back, they'll tell you, Coach, I was wrong. And then you go from there. But if you don't have their back, you can't expect them to then in turn show any kind of, I don't say any kind of like feelings towards how you would feel as a leader, like because you're not showing them the leadership aspects, leadership qualities. People want to be led. I'm not saying people naturally follow, but people look to the leader. If you have
they look for structure.
If your titular position is coach, you are by default the leader. Same thing if you're the best player on the team, if you're the quarterback, the point guard. These are all positions that expect you to be a leader. So when you're in these positions as a coach, then you need to ensure that you are respecting the player, especially youth players that are out there grinding, that you have their back. There's nothing more infuriating than an event that I had to deal with last Friday when it all came down to it. All the calls on the field, the incorrect calls, the negative accusations towards my son as a player, a 50-year lacrosse player, all of that was standing. His coaches didn't have his back. His coaches created more of a conflict for him on the sideline to the point where I had to get involved and his mom had to get involved. When it's like, you're a coach, you should be able to say, I've coached this kid through multiple sports. I've watched him perform with your kid, because most coaches are volunteers because your kid's on the team. I've seen him operate in pressure situations before. I've never seen him crack. I'm not going to believe it now. I'm going to go after this referee and say, yo, what's going on? I've known this kid since Obama was president. And now all of a sudden he's just acting out of character. It doesn't make any sense. When you know your players, you know your position, be confident in that. Don't be flaky. You're a leader. You can't be flaky. People will tear you down if you're a person who's in a leadership position and you can't operate as such. If you cannot do it, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, this is not for me. But don't make it seem like the people that you have an inability to lead are the reason why you can't lead them. That's on you. Men stormed the beaches of Normandy with bullets flying at them because leaders told them, we're going to get to this beach and take this beach over. You can get people to do anything if they believe in what you're presenting to them. If you don't have that capability, then just stay out of the way. Just be a dad on the sideline, be a mom on the sideline, be a cousin on the sideline, be a brother on the sideline. Do not go out there and say, I want to lead you and coach you and be put yourself in this position. If you're not wired for it, if you don't have the stones for it, stay at home. That's all I got to say.
I tell people all the time, you might as well lead the right way, because whether you lead the right way or the wrong way, that's what people are going to see you and remember you as. So if your name is on it, you got to make sure it's the best product possible, because that's all you got is your name.
Stamp on it.
That's it.
Put that stamp.
That's it. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you. We are at another end of another episode. Always my least favorite part. But we must bid you adieu. And in the meantime, all I ask from you is like, review, subscribe. It's all free.
Give us your inputs. We're all ears. All ears.
You got the criticism. You got criticism. We here for it. If you got compliments, give us a little bit of that too.
Yeah, hit the like button.
That's it. So I'm 2-5. And then over there, you got Mr. Logical.
What's up?
See you in a few days. Peace.
Peace.